I made a crafty crafter crafting crafters. In other words, I made a smart machine that can automatically craft items using the crafter block, and the item that is automatically crafting is the crafter block itself. On top of all of that, it is also infinitely automatic, meaning that once you start it up, it can continue to produce items without any new input from you. This is part of my almost 15-year-long quest to design an automatic farm to get every item in the game of Minecraft, and I'm over 95% to completing this crazy goal. Plus, this machine has a cool secret secondary use, which I'll tell you at the end of the video. So to craft the recipe of the crafter block, we will need some redstone dust, iron ingots, a crafting table, and a dropper. We'll take a look at how I automated each of these processes, starting first with the easiest, which is the iron ingots. When it comes to iron, the easiest way to get it in large amounts is a iron farm. And I have this super simple design here, which produces iron golems by having villagers that are part of a village with these beds and are constantly getting scared by the zombie, so they call in the reinforcements of a iron golem to help them out. Instead, he ends up just walking towards the zombie, getting pushed in a little bit more with some water and falling into a water stream which burns them with some lava. Now when iron golems are killed, they will drop iron ingots and poppies. Now the iron and poppies will get picked up by this hopper here and put into some storage, and underneath that we have some lovely redstone, which is actually checking for any extra iron and pulling the ingots out, sorting them away from the poppies. We're then going to have to transport these to a spot where we can actually craft them into the crafters. So we got some droppers here which are on a clock that are shooting all the items into some water streams. The iron is then sent up using some bubble columns to where it gets to the top where we have some water stream, washing them over, and they're getting dropped down this hole here, landing on top of this comparator, and underneath the comparator is actually a hopper that is picking up the items, and then this hopper is pushing them into the crafter, filling up all the iron slots. The next thing we need to make a crafter is crafting tables, and this actually starts over here with my bamboo farm. Now the reason why I'm getting wood from using bamboo rather than using a tree farm is because tree farms often need a player to be sitting there placing in saplings for the trees to grow. But I have designed a zillion tree farms that don't even need the player and can run 24/7 inside of loaded chunks like spawn chunks. But with 1.20, we can now turn the bamboo into bamboo block, and then those blocks can be crafted down into planks, which could then be used for most recipes like the crafting table. Unlike the playerless tree farm or even like my iron farm, which doesn't need a player, just loaded chunks, when it comes to bamboo, for them to grow, it needs to be within the random ticked area around the player. This is about 8 chunks out in each direction from the player. But this isn't a problem, as we will have the player in this area anyways. Now once it breaks down the bamboo into items, they're then pushed off of the actual bamboo shoots and close enough for the hopper mica underneath to pick them up, and then take them over to this hopper system, which will automatically stop it and unload all the items, which then get stored up in a chest and eventually make it into this dropper. Then this dropper will detect the items and will drop them into the water stream. This water stream will send them all the way around and then up using some bubble columns where they go into another water system. From here they'll go over top of this hopper here. The bamboo is being pushed by the hopper into the crafter here, which is automatically crafting the items down into bamboo blocks. That's then getting pushed into this hopper here, which is getting pushed downwards into this crafter, which is converting the bamboo blocks down into the planks. Planks are then getting pushed into this barrel here, which are then getting picked up by another hopper and pushed into another crafter. Once filled up in a 2x2 grid, it produces a crafting table. The crafting tables are then pushed out of there into another barrel and then pushed in with another hopper into our crafters, so we can supply all the crafting tables needed to make the crafter. So we just need an automatic way to get 2 more items to be complete. So let's take a look at the redstone dust. We're halfway, so leave a like and make sure you're still subscribed. The redstone is acquired from my simple witch farm here, which uses a witch hut and 3 platforms with some zoglins on top. Of course, to get to the witch spawns, we use a player AFKing above the world. That way the witches can only spawn in directly inside of this farm here. And while they're in the area, they're also loading the iron farm, as well as producing a random ticked area, allowing the bamboo farm to grow. But luckily when it comes to the other farms, they can easily be placed in near a witch hut, as they don't require a special location. The zoglins will then get mad at the witches that spawn here, since zoglins like to hit all sorts of things, and then they will just hit them, which will make them slide off the edge, and they will fall down this little hole here and into the center, where we have a bunch of minecarts which are doing entity cramming. This will kill the witches fairly fast and their loots are being collected, but we want the redstone, so we got a nice little auto sorter here which is picking up the redstone, sorting it off to the side, and it's dropping it down into this water stream here. Then it gets pushed up this bubble column here, and where we have some water streams which are moving it in between all of these contraptions. They eventually go over top of this hopper here, which will pull them into the storage chest. Then from here, they're being pulled down through this hopper here and directly pushed into the crafter so we can supply all the redstone we ever need. So the fourth item we need to make auto crafting crafters is the dropper, which is also the hardest. The dropper starts over here with a simple cobblestone generator. We've got some lava on one side and a waterlogged block on the other, producing cobble in front, which is completing a circuit, which pushes it over into this row over here. Once we've got a whole row of cobblestone, we have a system that can detect that and then push the whole row going forward over here. And once this entire area is filled in with cobblestone, we detect it with a observer over there, and then we have the entire thing pushed downwards. But having a big cube of cobblestone isn't good enough. We need to convert this into items. So after it fills in, we have a little detection system, which will then put off some redstone, and this will activate this TNT duper here, and the duper will produce TNT, drop it into some powdered snow. The TNT will fall down through some powdered snow to perfectly time it, and then we will push it outwards using this slime block, which is done when the TNT passes through the string here. I then perfectly timed it so the TNT will get pushed underneath, while at the same time the blocks from above get pushed downwards so that they're in block 36 form, which makes their blast resistance really low so they can be destroyed easily with a single block of TNT. Every TNT will blow up about 20 cobblestone, and their items get dropped over here, then collected with some water stream and put into this hopper here, which puts them into a dropper that automatically detects them and will drop them into another water stream, which send them over to this bubble column, taking them upwards and into another water stream, which then gets moved around over top of some hoppers here. The hoppers will then pick up all the cobblestone, move them into this chest over here. The cobblestone is then put over into a crafter over here, which is crafting the cobblestone, plus also using some redstone from the witch farm, and combining those two to produce droppers. The droppers automatically being put downwards and into this hopper here, which is pushing them into the crafter. But this crafter block won't craft items automatically without some redstone. The entire machine needed to auto-craft crafters is a total of 5 unique auto-crafters within it. So not only am I using my simple designs, which can do like a single item, as well as my double item designs that can work on bigger crafting recipes, but I also have my auto-crafter that can work for 99% of all recipes, which it normally only handles 3 unique items. But because the crafter block takes 4 unique items, I actually put in another hopper in here with a comparator and a little bit of extra redstone in the back, so I can actually do 4 different items with this simple setup. Now it just so happens to be that each of the 4 farms produce the correct amount of each items, so that when they all come together here, it will always roughly be the right amount of items in order to craft one of the items, without having a large surplus of any one item. So with all this redstone, we can finally produce an infinite amount of crafter blocks. But not only can we get crafters automatically crafted with these 4 different farms, being the witch, bamboo, iron, and cobble, we can use these exact same 4 ingredients to automatically craft up pistons. So the auto piston making machine uses a total of 3 little crafters within it, one to turn bamboo down into bamboo blocks, then another to turn those blocks down into planks, and the main crafter, which is actually crafting the pistons, which picks up all 4 of the different items and automatically detects whenever there's enough of them, then it will automatically produce a never-ending stream of pistons. Although having tons of crafter blocks isn't that useful other than maybe their cool texture, on the other hand, having tons of pistons is extremely useful. Not only can they be used to break bedrock in large amounts in vanilla survival, or used in large-scale farms to collect resources or to farm up mob spawns, but they're also used in flying machines, as the main component that make these things fly is the pistons. Now you don't need a ton of pistons to build the smaller flying machines like the ones that transport you through the sky or do small tasks for you, but the massive flying machines which can do stuff on very large scale, such as tunnel bores which can help you mine out different resources throughout the world, or different types of quarries such as like a TNT quarry, which can be used to destroy all blocks in the area, great for making large perimeters to place your farms inside of, or the TNT quarry can be used smartly where you stop it and collect the resources as you move downwards through the different layers of the world. There's also block quarries where the machines grab the blocks, then break them down for their resources. Or you can build a silk touch block quarry where it grabs the blocks and then has the player silk touch them and stores them safely as items for you to use later. Now see how I designed an automatic farm for every item in the game Minecraft with this playlist here. And if you're capable, join my YouTube community. These massive projects are only possible with your guys' support, so don't forget to leave a like, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye bye!